Probably should put a Tootsie Roll in my mouth. They were staring at me.
They're calling your name like they called mine.
Just make sure this is actually live and unmuted, right? Okay, it's.
Yeah, it's definitely being recorded, the red dots on
Yeah,
this.
well, I forgot to unmute it one time, so. All right, so this is the Parks Commission meeting for May 11th at 5:08 PM. It's not a whole lot, still have no minutes. It's just a massive project to get us caught up on at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I know, so we talked about the hiring. I did reach out to the two people who were previously employees that had been interested in coming back, so it was Gianni Mistretta and Fallon Lozano, I think is their name.
Yep, that's
So Gianni says, that they're both interested, Gianni was interviewing for another part-time job,
okay.
but he doesn't know yet. I asked if, he would do both or what he was
Yeah.
thinking. And then Fallon is definitely interested. I mean, I think from talking to Alan and Jen, I'm not sure we don't desperately need them, but I think we had kind of space, so it wouldn't have had to bring on a few more.
Oh, yeah.
Add a little bit of wiggle room. So I think the recommendation would be to hire Fallon Lozano and Gianni Mistretta both as counselors. They both would be in their third year, even though they skipped years, so I think $15.50 would be the rate.
Okay.
That seems to match. So Fallon was with us in 2024, and then, oh no, 24 and 25, and then maybe didn't return, I must be off, 23, 24. That's what it was.
So she wasn't back in
And
20.
then skipped a year. And then Gianni was in the shack in 22, then he skipped a year, then he worked for the camp in 24, then he skipped another year.
So third year with the town, but only
Third year,
second
yeah.
year as counselor.
I mean, yeah, so technically, technically, do you pay Gianni just $15.25, and I don't know, it seems like pretty consistently, the 3 years are all $15.50.
Yeah, if it's the 3 years.
By 4 years.
It's not like they're working 10,000 hours or
Right.
Yeah. At least it's consistent, so that would be, I think, the recommended motion, pending all the background checks and all that
Okay.
kind of stuff.
I would move to hire Gianni and Fallon at the stated hourly rates for the 2026 season.
Second.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, I forgot to open up this document, give me a second. Fortunately, the AI doesn't capture the votes.
Mm-hmm.
508. Missed that. All right, so that's that. I did update the calendar for summer events. I think I'm gonna change it so it's an actual calendar, but it's just a list. So we've got the boat race, 2, possibly 3 library concerts, 3 Gateway concerts. I listed the 8-2 event concert in the park. If we want to put the whole event up, and then movie night, they want to do again in the summer. And then I was talking, I kind of had a chance to connect with Amy, but they'll do like senior picnics and stuff.
Oh.
We should do 1 or 2 during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it for that right now.
You say library concerts, so they're at the library or it's sponsored?
No,
by the
yeah, so
library?
they do a couple children's concerts. And so a couple years ago, she had reached out about doing them at the beach.
Okay.
And so we've pretty consistently, we've had 2 and then they added a 3rd one. And they fund them out of their budget, so I put it as sponsored by the library. It's
Yeah.
Roly Poly Guacamole, the Toe Jam Puppet Band,
Definitely.
which show
That's
that.
actually my cousin.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, one of the guys, my cousin.
Oh, they're like Barney guys too, like.
Yeah.
They're like, it's like real music. But they're like all over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I forget what the Toe Jam Puppet Band is, they do like bubbles and activities and stuff, and then the 3rd one she did was Music at the Blissful, I think it was called. And I think Yeah, Evan Howard presents music at the Blissful.
Blissful
I
Meadows or
don't know,
something.
yeah, I don't know. It was like a single, like, guy with a guitar. But they get a really good crowd, we get a lot of young people that show up for that.
That's cool.
So those are fun, and then the Cable 8 has got the Mark Berger Band, which he described as Americana. I haven't looked them up yet. Vinyl Echo, which is a classic rock band, and then Alexander's Jazz Time Band, which is like a 20s, 30s jazz band.
Nice.
So
Good mix.
that should be decent. I know I emailed them back because I hadn't heard. I had talked a little bit last year with the library about doing like different ideas. So we're thinking maybe do a beach pass that you could check out from the library. So I emailed him again to ask him how he was thinking that would work. But I don't know, is that something we'd be okay with doing?
Yeah, I think so.
Like a season pass, then you could go check out from the library.
Yeah.
So I guess in essence, you're getting free admission, but and we'll have to figure out if it's like,
Do you put a,
the same person or how.
Right, put a minimum on it or I should say a maximum on the number of times you can use it.
Yeah, and we'll have to figure out how to keep track of it in the system.
How much is it to get into the beach?
So we're doing, it's $3 a person for men and residents, it's $5 a person for non-residents. And then children 2 and under, seniors 60 over are free. That's been pretty consistent. The price we increased, I believe, 2 summers ago to coincide with the work that was done.
And can they buy a season pass?
And then, yeah, we do season passes, they were $75 for Mendon and $150 for non. And we've been considering employees of the town and the school as residents. It comes up.
yeah, that makes sense.
Pretty rare.
Yeah.
I know at one point there was somebody in the police department that did some lessons and stuff like that. And we're still, I mean, let's say we're almost more non-resident than resident, but
No kidding.
we'll take your money, I mean. Works, yeah,
Yeah, exactly, we'll always take your money.
Yeah.
Keep the lights on.
And it's reasonable, it's not,
Yeah.
it's not like you're charging $15 a person.
Yeah.
It's short.
years ago, they tried raising the price and people were livid.
Yeah.
But this most recent time, I don't think anybody said anything that I can recall. But yeah, that's, pretty much that. I'm still need to work on swim lessons. And I'm still, I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys or it might have been AJ about trying to do like a birthday party type package thing.
Oh, yeah, I think you
Maybe-
talked to me about that, like,
Yeah.
like months ago, we talked about.
We have this canopy that we found that I'm gonna try and sell. Parts. The neighbors they ended up doing a birthday and I forget how we did it. I think they like pay a nominal rate for so many people.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, like.
Because it comes up and so one of the things that Parks traditionally has never closed the beach for a private event during normal hours.
Yeah.
And same with the playground, we're not, like, if you wanna book the pavilion, that's fine, but the
The playground's open to the public, and I think it's tough to monitor that,
Yeah,
like, you have to,
right.
like, just. If you're using the pavilion, you can use the playground, like, you're there.
And then it was that, I know the brothers sometimes had that like end of the season cook-off and that kind of thing, right at the end of our season, I think they've kind of gotten away from that.
Yeah.
Because it ends up just being a ton of work. It would be nice to explore expanding our season if the interest keeps up in the way.
Yeah. No, I think the birthday party idea is
Last
great.
year it got hot really soon. Usually by August it's a ghost town. So, we're gonna have like those last few weeks, do nothing. It'll be like, beautiful sunny out, but it's like 62 and nobody's.
Everybody's taking a vacation all at that time, knowing they got a couple weeks left.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all in good shape. Looking at the agenda here, does anything? I know so the benches went in, if you didn't see that.
Probably did, but I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's awesome.
They did them last week. So they're metal benches that are around the playground. I asked if there was a cost if we had to buy concrete, I didn't hear back yet, but
Yeah.
it may be nominal. They finished, grading field's done, the only thing left is that roadway across the park.
Oh, yeah, the pickup.
Which would probably be, that'll be probably a couple $100 in materials plus whatever to get the gate.
Yeah,
He said he was gonna get that done before.
I would think the gate's probably the most expensive part of that.
Yeah, just the metal to weld it up.
Yeah.
They are gonna get more playground mulch. That's gonna be about $2,500. The fence, and we talked about the fence, so we signed off on that.
Mhm.
Just waiting for a date from them. I don't know what else is on this list.
Do they get real mulch or they do the rubber mulch?
No, we do, it's real mulch, but it's like playground mulch.
Has to be a certain density.
Yeah,
right?
it's, you know, like it's tested and
Mhm.
it's,
No
we,
chemicals.
we usually bring in some every year, it's sparse up there.
Yeah.
So they're gonna, but the nice thing now is highway can do the trucking,
Yeah,
so we're not paying for a truck, they can just drive over there and load it up.
yeah.
So that's one of the big, I think, advantages of this new setup.
Does the town buy mulch or they make their own?
No, this you have to buy.
Okay.
You have to buy, and I don't know if they do something special to it, but I know it has to be like certified. They drop something on it and measure how much it bounces or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really exactly can, because I think, I mean, he was calling this morning to see who had it. So I don't know how it works, if they like make it and then have a batch and it's certified and they have that much that, they,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know.
Where did we get it from?
I've been using McIntyre.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
Mhm.
Years ago, we did Cook. I think
Yeah,
we've gone-
Cook is gone now, yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
They were the best price on mulch, always the best
Well, they had a
price.
huge, so McIntyre had limited runs, and actually, I wouldn't be surprised if McIntyre was buying it from Cook.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, some of those places, like, they're buying from Kimball's and reselling,
Mhm.
but if you can go pick it up yourself, you can get a way cheaper price.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. The cameras, I'm still trying to work through to figure out how to phase that in
Yeah.
and what we actually can afford. We probably should start thinking about more longer term capital projects and like the next round of stuff we wanna get done. Cause I think there's money in the revolving fund. It's just whether, you know, we have some that we can spend, and then if we had to go back and ask for an increase in the spending cap for a specific project,
Mhm.
I think that would be palatable, but it's not in a time crunch.
When they do work on Inman, is that gonna fall under parks?
I don't think so. I think Inman, so we generally don't do anything with trails. That usually falls to Concom.
Mhm.
Inman in particular is weird because it's in like, the select board had it. It's kind of in like limbo.
Yeah, cause
It's
I know
restricted.
they're,
So I went up there the other day and we were talking
Yeah.
about this. This is as part of the 100th camporee for the scouts. We're cutting in some specific like camping sites,
Yeah,
which we don't know if we wanna like leave them as camping sites going forward after this is over and kind of use it as a town resource, or just let it grow back in and.
yeah. And I think at some point we should have a meeting and connect with Isabella. And
Yeah.
I know I sent some info. I mean, I talked on the phone with Mike about, like, there's a company that's composting toilets
Mm-hmm.
that we had looked into a little bit for that cabin at Meadowbrook Woods.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, it's gonna be a special to be compliant in Mass.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out, so supposedly there was a well, it's where that wood pole is.
Yes, yeah, we were talking about that.
That's what that's what Pete Hawks told me. So that answers that mystery, and I think they must, there's a breaker, a 20-amp breaker, they must have just thrown a pump down
Mm-hmm.
for irrigation, so. That would be interesting to do. If you really wanna do a public water supply, or at least have it sited so it could become one in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't think it'd be expensive.
Yeah, I think that like this will all kind of evolve after all the work's done that we're doing for the camporee. And then like what it looks like after the camporee.
Right. I know, I sent John some info, because I knew there was a question about power.
Yeah.
And so through facilities, I had gone up and looked and offered some suggestions of options.
Yeah, because there's power up there.
Yeah, just the problem is, there's power in the other building, and there's power near your building, but it's the public safety stuff that
Yeah.
probably can't be touched.
Yep.
So it might end up being easier to just trench and go across, which isn't horrendous, but. You know, and again, not to volunteer, but they can do the work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's an expense. Yeah, because I know that was, there's a cabin, I don't know if you know about this, in Meadowbrook Woods, down off of Pleasant Street. There's a inland pond.
Yep.
And there's an old hunting cabin.
Yeah.
At one point, Kevin Run was involved and the scouts were doing.
Yeah, Troop 44 was using it for campouts.
So I know Isabel would like to do something at some point and turn that into like a space that people could rent.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
I've never been to Inman, so how would I get to Inman?
So Inman is off of Blackstone, so if you go down Blackstone Street,
Keep going as if you're going to.
as if you're going to Daniel's Farmstead, it's on the, like, coming from the center, going, it's on the
Is
left.
it on the left, like up on a hill?
Yeah, it's a Inman Hill Road all the way up to the dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, because
It's beautiful.
oh, I know,
Yeah,
many years
beautiful.
ago, we looked at a piece of property on that road going up. Sorry, yeah.
It's just like beautiful sight lines out.
The cabin is on,
The cabin's off of Pleasant, but it's on, I don't know what the little pond
it's
is.
called Inman Pond.
Oh, it's called Inman Pond, but so that's different, that's
I thought
separate
this
from
property-
Inman Hill.
We use the same names for everything apparently.
Well, it was probably a popular last name in this
Yeah,
town, probably one point in time.
Yeah.
Is it near Peter Hawks's family on the farm?
I'm
Or
not
is it
entirely
off
sure.
Asylum?
I'm trying to look, it's between them.
I think it's off Asylum, because
It's
you
off
have to
Asylum.
so if you go in through the Mendon Town Forest, you end up crossing a road which is probably Asylum.
It's near Cormier Woods.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's
Cormier
off
Woods.
Asylum, yeah, it's off Asylum.
It's off, it's off Asylum. Oh, it's Asylum Park, that's what it is.
I can remember when Asylum was a dirt road.
Really?
Went through like that, there were no houses.
And the cabin is kind of down near the.
So
near
it's
the
gotta be-
pond. I think
Is
it's- that's
it at
like
about
off the park.
Southwick's property then? Close to it?
Yes.
Yeah,
And then it ties into Cormier Woods.
Cormier Woods.
Eventually,
Really, a lot of nice hiking trails there.
talk to Ann sometime, she's got a whole grand plan eventually of how all these properties can connect. And all these trail systems eventually could become one major,
Yeah, and Jason's working on something to like map them out,
Yeah.
have them in an app that people can access them and
yeah,
learn about the history of certain things.
someday, there's like a much larger overall plan.
Who's doing that?
Jason Cooter, the select board.
But yeah, I think in terms of stuff that like we wanna prioritize for parks,
Mm-hmm.
I know I talked to I think Tatro Field probably after the school projects are done, might be another one to think about, expanding irrigation. We have money for the, what do you call it, septic plans for the potential beach expansion.
Oh, okay.
Tight tank for Lowell Field,
Mm-hmm.
so I did reach out to Allen Engineering to find out what the next steps are, because we need to do a perk test.
Yeah.
If it doesn't perk, then we're done.
Yeah.
But, I think ultimately this parks building, it would be nice to maybe get a design together,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not something that can ever be built, but just to have an idea.
Yeah.
And
What it would look like, where the area is, and if it's potential, if there's ever a grant or something that you
Where are
could
you
use.
playing, maybe you have an idea.
So we own all the land behind the bathrooms, like pretty much all the way to the dealerships at the park. So where the pavilion and the bathrooms are, all
Yeah,
that, all
the way
that
back there?
is all parks. So you could put it right near the bathrooms in the back there and have a large building that would be for the rec program and potential other space. I think we could pay for it from the revenue from our program.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of convincing the powers that be that, that makes sense. I mean, we have to, there would be some sort of a down payment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you have to buy the property, you own that, that's a plus in itself.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but if we continue to accumulate funds, it's something that can be really.
Well, yeah, no, we have a space, and I think the push, actually, I think you said it, Canada tonight, but it's been said to me too. I think the next is looking at programming outside the summer.
Yeah.
So something like that would give us a location that we could be doing before, like before and after school care. I think the school program is totally
You could
waitlisted.
do cross-country
And school
skiing or
vacation.
snowshoeing in the wintertime if there's enough snow and you had a building.
Yeah,
Have you ever been to North Brookfield?
Yeah.
It's Mass Electric, I think it's Mass Electric who owns it. They own a building there, and in the wintertime, they have snowshoeing and cross-country skiing out of that building. They rent out equipment and everything.
Where's this?
In North Brookfield.
Huh.
And it's pretty cool, and, they've got little shacks along the trail where they have somebody who has hot cocoa and stuff like that.
Oh, that is
But
really cool.
it's really cool, and, I had done it with Boy Scouts, it's like, I know about it, and it's pretty decent, and it's just they don't charge you an arm and a leg to rent the equipment, it's just enough to, keep the lights on and running, and that's what they do, but you could do all kinds of winter programs.
I
If
think
you had a facility.
the ice skating is the other one that if it's worth investing in a rink, I know Upton, I think, flooded one of their courts, and I don't know how successful that's been.
Yeah, I don't
Years
remember
ago,
that.
we tried to do something on the lake, but it's so inconsistent,
Yeah,
and I think now that's not a thing that,
well, and there's the safety issue of the lake.
right, you don't fall through an ice rink in a field.
So my high school was doing this for a while. I went to Mount St. Charles, Rhode Island, and they were building an arena on
Yeah,
fields because it was flat.
Yeah,
And I don't know how often they used it or how successful it was though.
but
But that
that's,
is cool. It's a good
But it
idea.
is cool, and you could have a cocoa shack and open it up, and you,
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you think about downtown Boston has the frog pond.
yeah, you
Yeah.
could do it that way, and open it up and do stuff like that.
So they do one at Patriot Place, but it's refrigeration.
yeah, it's not coming down to do stuff. At one point, the school, I think, tried to buy something, and I don't know how, if they got used much, I should ask. Because there's kids even there, the problem is there aren't a lot of places that have the right access to facilities, like the park is basically shut down,
Mhm.
and so there's no running water.
No more reason to get yourself around.
I don't know if Founder's Park would really be big enough. I suppose you have the land across the street that nothing's happening on,
Mhm.
or not quite the corner, but that
Yeah.
property.
But it goes down like this, so how would you really make
We
it?
have to have something that,
Yeah, you need
level?
it.
Yeah,
Or be able to make it level without too much site work.
and be it for parking wise too, make it for people to be able to get in and out, and getting stuck in that field wouldn't be.
yeah. I do think the town should look at the, that Dunn property at some point.
Frucci's old place?
Yeah.
Up on,
Bellingham
off Bellingham Street,
I think the town, I mean,
don't Frucci still own it?
it's Georgia Dean and her family,
Yeah.
so, but, because we need a fairground where you can do events that, we don't care what happens to the place, that, like, you can't do an event in the park because you wreck the park.
Mhm.
What about Inman, what does Inman look like? I've not been this way.
My only concern with Inman, and I'm really curious to see how it all works out with the scouting, is traffic
Yes.
up there.
Yeah, that's a
You
big
can't
concern.
have hundreds of people driving up that road, and the neighbors are gonna, even the scouting thing, I'm surprised,
Yeah.
it sounds like the neighbors are on board, which is.
They're on board with it, I don't think they want it to be a regular thing, because we talked to one of the neighbors on Sunday or Saturday morning.
Tisha, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she was like, it's great, she's excited about this, loves living up there. She's like, but we see Rhode Island cars coming up here, there's gonna be drug deals going on, like, it's not closely monitored enough to make it like full public access.
Yeah, well, that's what we ended up doing with that gate up there.
Yeah.
That basic trail riders actually paid for it,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to close it in the winter because they get stuck.
Yeah.
They wreck the place.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd be curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be closely monitored and.
Yeah, a lot of the scouts are.
Yeah. We'll probably actually have the police department help us out for that. Just because that road is so narrow
Yeah.
and so windy to get up there.
Yeah. So I think that was pretty much all I had for new, current stuff.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything else going on that I'm forgetting. I do, I'm trying to get an answer from Musco. They do have an option for a point of use control for the lights.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you push a button and it can be configured, so you push the button, lights turn on for an hour. At the end of the
That's
hour, the
awesome.
strobe starts tripping and says
Yeah.
the lights are gonna shut off now.
Yeah.
And you can say that button won't
So
work.
it gives you a warning? Okay.
Yeah.
You can control when the button is.
So it would be accessible to a certain point in the night,
Yeah, so, which is how the old system used to work. You
Yeah.
just go push, the problem is they just stay on.
yeah. No, that would be awesome, because when we were there playing pickleball 2 weeks ago, it was oh, it's starting to get dark, but we were finishing up anyway, but it might have been nice to flip them on for.
We ended up just turning them on, I think we put them on low or medium like every night from like 8 to 10, and I think, it doesn't really cost a lot, but it does, I think, the neighbors don't. People complain a little bit about just like, oh, the lights are on, nobody's there.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
It's pretty inexpensive though, right? It's their LEDs.
Do you get, I was gonna say, do you also get a break if you have them on for so many hours?
No, you just pay for the use.
How does Oxford get away with a break then?
What do you mean?
Maybe because they're on all the time.
I don't know, we just.
They get a rate from, this was way back, they used to get a rate break on the tennis courts, which are now the skateboard courts, on, with the lights being on, and people were complaining, somebody was like, well, they get a rate break because they're on, so I was like, how does that work?
Yeah, that seems
I
weird.
wonder, were they like street lights though, or
Oh,
floodlights?
no, they were those big, huge
They might have been
lights.
on some special tariff or had them built a certain way. Cause some of those other lights are under the street lighting program, I'm trying to find it, I can give you the exact numbers, I just gotta figure out where it is, cause it's in the folder for the field lighting project.
No, because the neighbors would complain, it was like, you could see the whole area light up like Christmas. And then you got them there skateboarding at night and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, so the field lights on high are $4.40 an hour, on the medium they're $2.20 an hour, and on low they're 58 cents an hour.
Yeah.
The court lights are 75 cents, 37 cents, and 10 cents.
Oh, Jesus.
And
Wow,
then
that's so cheap.
the pavilion is 14 cents an hour for the.
Really?
So yeah, I priced it out, so if we, if I ran, if we do everything on low, 7 months, 31 days, 4 hours, it's $170.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
If you put it on high, it's $12.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm trying, the guy said he was waiting for the vendor to respond, to give us a price, looks like it's pretty simple and it's something we'll have to see. I also wanna find out, if it's possible, it could be done for the fields, and I thought about maybe is it could be done in the concession stand.
Yeah.
That way you control who has access to it, and then you tell U Sports, turn them on whenever you want, at the end of the year, we're gonna bill you for whatever they want.
Yeah, that's,
Instead of plan, because sometimes they run into issues where it's like a night like tonight, they might wanna flip the lights on at the end of the night, because it's getting a little dark.
Yep.
But it's not a night game.
yeah.
So I don't know, we'll have to see what it comes back at, I mean, I'm sure it's not gonna be $50, I'm sure it'll be very expensive, but I think some sort of point of use, I still think it should be a coin op, but I don't think anybody has coined it.
But an app,
Yeah. Well, that, I think
Oh,
that's.
that's a
like a parking app.
Yeah, we can integrate something with, and I tried to ask her about it, like if something could, because it sounds like it's just an input, so if something could integrate and trigger that.
Yeah. Like if there was something like a QR code that could access the app that you use to do the
Yeah,
lights.
their app is not.
Yeah, not that good.
We'd have to.
There's gotta be
There are, so like instead of, if we wanted to pay extra, there's an integration, so like you can book field time and it schedules the lights, but it still requires manual intervention.
Yeah.
This would have to be like a third party app that then sends a signal back to trigger a relay,
Yeah,
and then we
yeah, I'm sure, I mean, if it's not available at this point,
It's doable.
it's
just-
doable,
it's doable on the list,
and the price will eventually come down over the years.
and hardware and software and programming.
Yeah.
You just push the button and I think, especially if, I would probably have this so they would only turn on at the medium level, not the full level. My guess.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like we
The cost.
used to have a condo up in New Hampshire that they had community gas grills. And it was already paid for, but in order to make sure that no one just left the gas on, you would go and turn a knob and it was like, 45 minutes worth of gas.
Yeah.
When it was off, it was off.
Yeah, so we'll see what that comes back at. And then, the septic thing is the other one, the other project. I don't know if you, I think it was kind of before, I don't know if you guys have been involved yet. We were looking at potentially, if you could do a septic across the street, pump the beach across the street.
Yeah, I don't think I was involved, but I had heard about it, because we were talking about it
And
for something
softball, I
else.
think ultimately would like to have a sink over there.
Yeah,
And you're gonna need a tight tank.
yeah.
To the west area of the park. and it has to go over there because it has to be 400 feet away from our well.
Yeah.
But it can be right next to the neighbor's well, that's the neighbor's septic, I mean.
Seriously?
But because we own it, we can't be within, we have to be outside the zone 2 of our own well.
Oh, that's,
Very interesting,
Wow,
so.
it's rough.
I think, I know, so, I think they're gonna use Chris Collins to do fertilizer.
oh, okay.
We're gonna buy it and he's gonna spread it,
Mhm.
because I think, Mike is still in the process, it's gonna take a while to get licensing, it's not an easy test.
Yeah.
I think that's everything I have right now, unless I don't think there's anything else or.
Do we just have to schedule another meeting for
Yeah.
next meeting?
I don't know, is there anything else for your event? Or anything going on?
Not yet, not for mine. The brothers are gonna cook.
Yeah, I think,
They are? Oh, nice.
we got AJ.
Yeah, the brothers are gonna cook. They, somebody asked if we could get the Lions Club to do French fries, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think, well, I can chat with you after the
That'd be a
meeting.
nice combo.
What are your thoughts?
So Lions Club is gonna do some of the food
I know.
service at the.
I'm there on Sunday morning, not
Oh, okay.
Saturday. Saturday I'm at the vendor fair, Sunday morning I'm there. Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know, we're thinking right away or a little bit.
And what makes sense from like things coming up
I
standing?
don't know if it makes sense to try and find a regular time, I mean, I don't know.
And for me, Mondays are great, so.
I mean, for the most part, this work, I mean, this earlier is better for me, a lot of times I end up having a lot of night meetings, but I think at some point we'll probably have to, we've had to meet with youth sports, we've had to meet later. But yeah, so I don't know if we could meet on the first, if that's soon enough, or too soon, or
The first is good with me.
June first.
probably get in the habit if something comes up, yeah. Does this same time work for people?
Yeah, I like 5 o'clock.
We can keep that.
Did you say June first?
June 1st, is that?
That'd be tough, because I have graduation to plan, which is the very next day.
Okay.
I have a sneaky suspicion I'll be up most of the night. Just a lunch.
Should we go to the next week then?
Yeah, I can do that. 8th.
8th is great.
Unless something comes up, but there shouldn't be too much. I think it'd be nice to, if we could do something with these cameras, I did talk to him again, because I can't look at something else in town hall. Get a feel for what we can get done before the end of the fiscal year.
Changes.
Oh, sorry, I do have another thing that came. Jeremy emailed me. Where'd it go? Apparently he talked to a couple of students. Some civics project that were interested in doing the 1 or 2 little free libraries.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
those are a
So he
thing.
thought of the park,
They're adorable.
except we already have one at the park.
Oh,
It's a
right.
project.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking, I wonder if it's worth trying to do one at the beach.
Yeah, I
It's
think
limited use, but it has a more, I guess, captive audience.
Yeah, during the summer, it'll have a captive. I mean, it won't get any use during outside of the summer, but.
But then what I was thinking, so I don't know if you're familiar with, so we kind of had, it's kind of lost and found, where it ends up like the communal beach toy pile. So I wonder if they'd be willing to like maybe change what they're doing and help us, like do the book thing, but help us maybe clean that up a little bit, maybe even get it outside. So it's a library for beach toys.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I
That's a great
can
idea.
follow up with them and then maybe they can come to a future meeting and I think that's a good experience too for them to
Yeah.
present their project.
Who book group is this?
It was, I don't know, I think NIMUC does like this, like civics thing. I'm not fully clear what the project is, because I've gotten like weird emails, like I think they're supposed to come up with something and then reach out to people, but then there's like no follow through, so I don't know which of them are actually serious about that project versus just like planning a project for the sake of a project.
Yep.
It was 2 NIMUC students,
So I guess that's a good question, if we do bring someone in, it's like, is this a project just so you could say you planned a project?
Right, well,
Or
I
you
don't
actually
don't
gonna
wanna
follow
waste,
through?
yeah, we would only meet with them if they were serious about doing something.
Yeah.
Implemented.
Yeah, but I think the beach toy project is excellent, because they could probably get a lot of beach toys for free from people.
Yeah, well, we have stuff that it's the lost
Yeah.
and found that just stays
Yeah.
there. You know, the park one, I don't know, it was, so the seniors have been curating it, somebody's been paying attention to it.
Mhm.
The park one was like empty, now I looked the other day and it was like totally full, so
Oh, no kidding.
somebody must have dumped off a bunch of books, so that's,
Restocked.
I don't know how the Clough one is going, I don't know over there. It was, I can't think of his name, it was me,
Oh, there's one at Clough too?
yeah, he did 3.
Oh, I didn't even know we had it. I love them, I think they're a great idea, so.
Yes. Yeah, the beach is not too, people go to the beach to read, so.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I love the beach toy idea, I think that's awesome.
I think of how much stuff, I can think of all the years that I've left stuff behind.
Yeah.
Somebody's using probably.
But yeah, it lives in and eventually it breaks. And
Well, that's the thing, it's like, if you have extra stuff and it breaks, you throw it away, and something else gets, someone drops something off or forgets something.
There's a shelf in the beach house right now, but. I don't know, so we thought about getting one of those chest things and putting it outside somewhere. I don't know.
Like a deck box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause the beach house is weird, cause it's like a semi-public private space,
Mm-hmm.
like during the week it's kind of closed, but then on the weekend it's kind of just open.
Yeah.
That beach is weird, I mean, you definitely, like, if your goal was to build a public beach, you would design it very differently.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like that was
Houses
someone's,
right there.
it was almost like that was someone's house at some point.
Yeah, it was, and
Yeah.
cottages and.
Yeah.
It was, that close to the water, that's so
Yeah.
interesting, now it's allowed.
I have pictures
Oh,
of,
God.
there was another cottage further down.
Oh, really?
Where past the basketball court.
Oh my gosh.
And then on this, where the playground is now, there's something else.
Yeah, there was all summer homes there.
I think those bathrooms were the shared bathrooms.
Yeah.
People would come from Boston,
Mhm.
and that would be their summer home for the summer. And then they'd go back home for the winter.
AJ lived in it.
Oh, really?
His father's beach director, the house wasn't built, they lived in it for a summer.
Yeah.
Cause somewhere I had a few pictures, it was like a beach house that had like a porch and that was like the snack bar.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's now the beach house was just basically a house.
So if that beach house or the house, could it be used for like if you did do a private birthday party? And you said this is the birthday party, like if it was inclement weather, you could move it inside there?
Yeah, on the weekends only.
Oh,
Because it's occupied by the camp during the week.
Oh, okay, the camp is using it during the week, okay.
Yeah, so we've set it up and so we have like changing stalls
Mhm.
inside.
Oh, okay.
Been the bane of my existence, they're now screwed into the wall and the curtains. Kids are obsessed with peeking over the stall around the thing,
Yeah.
so that's the whole thing. But we set up a bunch of like stalls for the kids, because, I don't know, we always just wear bathing suits to camp, but I guess that's not what
That was the thing,
Yeah.
that your mother dropped you on, you had bathing suit on underneath, and shorts and shirts over it.
So now, but that's mainly and then what it's used for now, but on the weekends, it you know, would be an option.
Yeah.
Except honestly, once it rains, we close, so. I think- Usually, probably an event like that, we have to think about it, booking them on a rain date or figuring that out.
Yeah.
We don't usually get too many requests, it's usually like, you know, every now and then they'll wanna just like keep a tally of emissions and
Yeah.
that kind of a thing. The neighbors did a whole Louis costume person.
Oh.
It's quite a party, yes. So. All right, well, I think that's it for real this time now.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Alright.